Stop scrolling through endless clothes and disappointing returns. What if your biggest shopping headache was actually worth billions? Imagine a world where shopping is no longer a chore, but a personalized experience delivered right to your door. A world created not by a tech giant, but by a woman who absolutely hated shopping. Today, we unravel the extraordinary journey of Katrina Lake, who defied Silicon Valley's male-dominated norms, turning a girl box of clothes into a billion-dollar empire. You're about to discover how personal frustration, combined with razor-sharp analytical thinking, can completely redefine an industry and shatter stereotypes. We've all been there, right? Staring at a mountain of clothes ordered online. Wrong sizes, weird colors, fits that make you question your mirror. Or maybe you've braved them all, only to find yourself under harsh fitting room lights that expose every single flaw. This endless cycle of scrolling, buying, trying, and returning has become a modern-day retail nightmare. It's a tedious ritual that saps our energy and often leaves us with a heap of disappointment and another batch of returns. For years, the tech world, largely run by men, shrugged it off as a minor inconvenience, something not worth their serious attention or investment. It was just a women's problem, something to be endured. But what if this paralyzing experience, this fatigue from endless choices and perpetual returns, became the cornerstone of a colossal empire? What if a young woman who herself despised every minute of shopping saw this universal annoyance not as a burden, but as a groundbreaking opportunity? This is the story of Katrina Lake, a woman who looked at a problem dismissed by the powerful, recognized the colossal unmet needs of millions, and then engineered a technological revolution that would forever change how we think about retail. She turned her personal pain into phenomenal profit, proving that a truly analytical mind combined with deep empathy could unlock an entirely new way to shop. To truly understand how Katrina perceived opportunity where others saw only logistical headaches and returns, we have to go back to her childhood. She grew up in sunny California, but not in a world of glitz and glamour. Her family was steeped in academia, her father a professor, her mother a Japanese language teacher. It was a home filled with books, ideas, and a deep appreciation for analytical thinking. From a very young age, Katrina was taught to dissect problems, to seek out logical connections, and to question everything. This rigorous, inquisitive mindset, honed in a whirl of intellectual pursuit, would later become her most potent weapon in a skeptical Silicon Valley. It taught her to see patterns and solutions where others saw only chaos. Yet, despite her sharp mind, Katrina harbored one deep, personal issue. She absolutely detested shopping. It wasn't just a mild dislike. It was a profound aversion. The overcrowded stores, the pushy salespeople who often seemed more interested in commission than customer satisfaction, the endless racks of clothes that never quite fit, the harsh fluorescent lights in depressing fitting rooms. It all felt like a senseless waste of time and energy. Even the rise of online shopping didn't help. Overwhelming product pages with too many choices, useless filters that never seemed to narrow things down properly, and no real sense of how anything would actually look or feel on her body. For Katrina, it was an ordeal, a frustrating, soul-crushing ritual that seemed utterly broken. After earning her degree in economics from Stanford, gaining experience in consulting, and dabbling in venture capital, Katrina enrolled at Harvard Business School. And it was there, amidst the buzz of aspiring entrepreneurs, that she noticed an astonishing paradox. Billions of dollars were flowing into cool tech ideas, social media platforms, addictive video games, sleek new gadgets, all projects that, interestingly enough, often catered to typically male interests. Meanwhile, women founders were conspicuously absent from the funding rounds, and almost no investor, it seemed, took seriously the everyday problems of female consumers. Things like clothing, personal care products, or home organization, these were routinely dismissed as too girly for a serious, scalable tech business. It was a blind spot, a giant gaping hole in the market that no one in power seemed to care about or even notice. This glaring disparity triggered an epiphany for Katrina. Her frustrating, time-consuming shopping problem wasn't just a personal curse. It was a colossal, underserved market need. Why am I trying to solve problems for guys in Silicon Valley? She must have thought. When I could build a business that actually solves my problem and the problems of millions of other women like me. She decided to take her analytical training, her Stanford and Harvard pedigree, and fuse it with an empathetic, personal understanding of women's needs. The vision for Stitch Fix, though still raw and undefined, was born. She saw an opportunity to bring intelligence and care to an industry that desperately needed both. It was 2011, and Katrina was still in her MBA program. At 28, she had negligible capital, but boundless determination. She launched a rudimentary prototype of what would become Stitch Fix. Her first steps were almost comically primitive, yet brilliant in their simplicity. She used SurveyMonkey, a free online tool, to craft detailed questionnaires. These weren't just about size. They delved into style preferences, colors, fabrics, lifestyle, and even budget. These answers became the foundation for her future, sophisticated algorithm. Her early clients? Friends, family, and sympathetic acquaintances who were equally fed up with shopping. After they filled out the surveys, Katrina would physically go into retail stores, often the very stores she hated, and select clothing by hand to match each client's specific answers. She'd then assemble a fix, a curated box of 5 items. She packaged these herself, often late into the night in her tiny apartment, and shipped them out by mail. The client would receive the box, try everything on at home, return what didn't fit or wasn't loved, and pay only for what they decided to keep. Here's the truly astounding part. She didn't even have online payment processing for those early boxes. She relied entirely on her clients' honesty, sending them invoices later. It was an act of faith, a leap of trust that, paradoxically, laid the groundwork for the deep connection and loyalty that would later define the Stitch Fix brand. She communicated with every single client by email, gathering detailed feedback, not just about the clothes, but about the experience. And through this painstaking manual process, she uncovered a critical insight. People genuinely didn't want to choose from a million options. They needed someone, or something, to filter the overwhelming noise of endless inventory. They didn't want more choices. They wanted better, more intelligent, and curated choices, made with care and understanding. When Katrina began pitching her concept to Silicon Valley venture capitalists, the reaction was almost predictable. She'd walk into offices filled with men in hoodies, men who often couldn't grasp the problem because it wasn't their problem. They'd dismiss her idea with thinly veiled condescension. A girl box? I can't imagine anyone sending me clothes. They couldn't envision themselves as clients. Therefore, it couldn't be a real business. This is a hobby, not a company, they'd say, often with patronizing smiles. The prevailing wisdom was that women's fashion was too fickle, too emotional, too prone to returns to be a serious, scalable tech business. They simply couldn't compute the value. But Katrina Lake wasn't deterred, and she certainly didn't back down. She didn't argue through intuition or emotional appeal. She used her analytical prowess, the very foundation of her upbringing. She presented compelling data, client retention figures that were off the charts, customer lifetime value projections that demonstrated incredible loyalty, and surprisingly low return rates compared to traditional e-commerce. She didn't just have a girl box. She had a robust, sustainable business model, backed by hard numbers. She explained how data science and machine learning, combined with the irreplaceable touch of human stylists, could make each fix progressively more accurate, more personal. This wasn't just another subscription box. It was a groundbreaking hybrid of AI recommendations and human taste. Despite the initial skepticism and outright dismissal, her data spoke volumes, and she managed to secure initial investment. By 2014, the company had raised approximately $16.75 million. Astonishingly, before its IPO, Stitch Fix raised only about $47 million total. An incredibly modest sum for an e-commerce startup destined for nearly $1 billion in revenue. It was a testament to capital efficiency and strong unit economics, proving you didn't need to burn endless cash to build something massive. So how exactly does this girl box, this sophisticated system, actually work? It all begins with that detailed questionnaire, a process that goes far beyond asking for your waist size. It delves deep, your preferred styles, from bohemian chic to classic professional, the fabric textures you love or hate, like silk or wool, your color palettes, your lifestyle needs, like clothes for work, casual outings or special events, your budget, so you're never sent something out of your price range. And perhaps most crucially, even which body parts might cause insecurity, allowing stylists to choose flattering silhouettes. The goal is to capture a holistic, deeply personal style profile that a simple size chart could never achieve. Once this rich data is collected, machine learning takes over. The algorithm analyzes this information, cross-referencing it with the behavioral patterns of millions of other clients. It learns what people kept, what they returned, and how their preferences evolved over time. This vast dataset allows the algorithm to generate an initial selection of 5 potential items, tailored to the client's profile. But here's where the true magic, the crucial differentiator, comes in. This algorithmic selection isn't final. It's presented to a human stylist. This live stylist, a real person with a keen eye for fashion and an understanding of human nuance, then makes the final adjustments. They might account for subtle comments and previous feedback that a machine might miss. Maybe a client mentioned an upcoming vacation or expressed a desire to try a bold new color for a special occasion. They can read between the lines, adding that intangible human touch. This human gaze, this empathetic connection, is what truly differentiates Stitch Fix from a purely algorithmic recommendation engine. The stylist refines the selection, adds a personalized note that explains why each piece was chosen, and then the fix is sent. The client receives their curated box, tries everything on in the comfort of their home, keeps what they love, and sends back the rest with convenient, free shipping. It's a seamless blend of artificial intelligence and genuine human understanding, creating an experience that feels both smart and personal. This innovative model proved to be an absolute game-changer. By 2018, just a few years after its humble beginnings, Stitch Fix was serving over 2.2 million active clients. And the numbers weren't just about scale, they were about health and sustainability. The company was generating over $1 billion in revenue, and perhaps most impressively, it had been consistently profitable since 2015. This wasn't a Silicon Valley unicorn burning through hundreds of millions in investor cash to chase growth at all costs. This was a company that grew steadily, sustainably, and profitably. Clients before capital. That was Katrina's mantra, and it paid off handsomely, proving that a smart business model could defy conventional wisdom. But all this growth and profitability was merely a prelude to a truly monumental moment. In November 2017, Stitch Fix debuted on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange. The atmosphere was tense. After months of skeptical chatter from analysts who still didn't fully grasp the girl box concept, shares were initially priced at $15, below the original expected range. The market, it seemed, still had its doubts, but on that first day of trading, the skeptics were silenced. Shares skyrocketed, propelling the company's valuation to between $1.4 and $1.6 billion. It was a stunning success, a clear vindication of Katrina's vision. At just 34 years old, Katrina Lake made history. She became the youngest woman ever to lead a company through an IPO, and notably, the only female CEO to conduct a tech IPO in 2017. But it was a particular photograph from that day that etched her into the annals of tech history. She arrived at the Nasdaq bell-ringing ceremony not alone, but holding her infant son. That powerful image, a founder, a mother, a CEO with her child, became a potent, undeniable symbol. It shattered lingering stereotypes about who could be a tech leader, proving that innovation, tenacity, and success knew no gender or traditional mold. By 2018, Stitch Fix's market capitalization peaked above an astonishing $7 billion. The personalized subscription model, once mocked and dismissed, had not only proven its worth, but had become an industry standard. Major retailers who once scoffed were now scrambling to launch their own clothing boxes, desperately trying to mimic the success of Stitch Fix. Katrina Lake had proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that women's shopping, a market once deemed insignificant and too girly, was in fact a multi-billion-dollar opportunity, just waiting for the right algorithm and the right vision to unlock it. However, success in the fast-paced world of tech is rarely static. Just like any innovative company, Stitch Fix faced its own set of challenges. Competition intensified as others tried to mimic their pioneering model. The global pandemic, with its unprecedented disruptions, strained logistics and supply chains, forcing the company to adapt rapidly. In 2021, Katrina made a significant move, stepping down as CEO and transitioning to the role of executive chairperson. She handed the operational reins to Elizabeth Spaulding, a seasoned executive from Bain & Company, demonstrating a commitment to long-term leadership and growth beyond her own tenure. But her commitment to the company she founded remained unwavering. In January 2023, when Stitch Fix faced growth challenges and a sharp decline in stock value, Katrina Lake returned as interim CEO. It was a clear testament to her deep passion and belief in the company's mission, stepping back into the fray when needed most. As of 2024, she continues to serve as executive chairperson, guiding the company through its next phase. Stitch Fix continues its journey as an independent public company, adapting its model toward more flexible purchasing formats, proving it's not afraid to evolve and innovate. It hasn't been swallowed by Amazon or acquired by a larger entity. It remains independent, with Katrina maintaining a significant stake and influence in its future direction. The legacy of Katrina Lake and Stitch Fix is truly enormous, impacting not just retail, but the very perception of entrepreneurship itself. First, Katrina demonstrated beyond a shadow of a doubt that a personal female experience, even something as seemingly mundane as disliking shopping, could form the bedrock of a major, multi-billion-dollar tech business. She single-handedly opened the eyes of skeptical investors to vast, overlooked niches and unmet needs within the female consumer market, showing them that too girly was actually too profitable to ignore. Second, she pioneered a truly groundbreaking model where data science and human expertise work in perfect tandem. Her algorithm didn't replace the stylist. It empowered them. It made them more efficient, more accurate, and more personal, freeing them from the mundane and allowing them to focus on the art of style. This innovative hybrid approach became a standard bearer for personalization across countless other industries, proving that the best technology often enhances human capabilities rather than replacing them entirely. Third, Katrina Lake set an indelible precedent as a female founder who didn't just build a successful company, but navigated it through the rigorous process of a public listing and did it all without burning through hundreds of millions of investor dollars. She proved, unequivocally, that you don't have to be a male coding prodigy in a hoodie to be a tech leader. You can be a woman, a mother, and profoundly solve real problems for millions of people, building a profitable, sustainable enterprise along the way. Her story is an inspiring testament to the courage it takes to believe in yourself when no one else does. It's about the incredible tenacity required to endure thousands of rejections and condescending smiles. And it's about the profound realization that the deepest, most frustrating personal problems often conceal the greatest and most lucrative opportunities. Katrina Lake, the woman who despised shopping, taught the world that an algorithm can be not only intelligent, but genuinely caring, delivering joy and confidence right to your doorstep. She reprogrammed not just an industry, but fundamentally changed our relationship with ourselves and our clothing. She made shopping, for millions, finally work. From a tiny apartment filled with survey responses and hand-picked clothes, to ringing the bell at Nasdaq with her infant son, Katrina Lake built an empire by focusing on a problem the tech world ignored. She turned a universal frustration into a personalized solution, proving that innovation often comes from unexpected places and from those who refuse to accept the status quo. Her journey is a powerful reminder that every challenge holds a hidden opportunity, especially when viewed through an analytical and empathetic lens. If you found Katrina's story inspiring, watch our next video about other trailblazing female founders who changed the game.